we've just passed 25,000, so it's going to be a mix of what I think the Bitcoin price is doing and 25,000 party, I guess. So pretty crazy to think that we only started the channel a few months ago. I've just finished my national tour, guys. Obviously, I love Bitcoin and cryptocurrency. I've been into this since 2012. Not many people were interested in hearing what I had to say back then. And it's fantastic that you guys are really loving the content and giving some good feedback, some constructive feedback if there's something you don't like, guys. Always trying to take that on board to do my best to present to you unbiased, unhyped, hopefully constructive information which has seen us do extremely well in what we've invested in so far. So what have I learned on my national tour? So that's the first thing. So obviously I want to dive over here and we're going to have a look at the charts. But what have I learnt so far from my national tour? And I want to tie this in to the longer term picture of where the whole markets stand. Okay, so let's have a look at the last fib retracement from the last significant bottom. So if you're a subscriber of the channel, you know that in the China FUD, I went live on YouTube and we called the bottom to within half an hour. Okay, guys, so awesome stuff. We've picked the bottom to within at least the day, within a few hours of the last three significant bottoms. And again, I like to put my fundamentals hat on, my sentiment hat, and then I guess the icing on the cake is just this technical analysis to look at those key levels. Once I think we're near a bottom from the fundamental and sentiment point of view, and I certainly think that sentiment is still what's driving these markets. These markets are in their infancy. You know, when we're on our live tour, we spoke about them being a toddler. They throw tantrums, they're emotional, they overreact, and that just shows you that a long way off all that institutional money coming in, volatility being reduced, then the markets will be mature. Okay, so we're a long way off that, and it's a good thing. It just shows you how far we've got to grow. So let's just have a look at this. We've had a pretty deep retracement. So we can retrace all the way back to 78.6. It's just about touched that, and now it's consolidating a bit higher, but we can still say that the bull market from a long-term weekly chart here that we're looking at is still intact. Okay, so we would have to break basically this low here and get down, you know, under sort of 6,000 and sort of close there on a weekly basis. And it's still an amazing run, guys. So just think about it that way. You know, this is only November. I know it feels like years ago when Bitcoin was $5,000. This is only 2 months ago, guys. So let's just keep everything in perspective. So let's start to zoom in a little bit more. So obviously this is a pretty steep chart. Yes, we need to have a correction. You know, we've had that bounce. We've had a big pullback. And in some ways, it looks like that classical bubble popping chart, guys. But guess what? We've seen this pattern play out at least 6 or 7 times since I've been in this space over the years. And then we continue higher because these markets aren't there yet. They're not mature, as I just spoke about. We'll talk about those reasons as well. So here we are on the daily chart. And since we topped 16th of December again, guys, it feels like so long ago, doesn't it? These markets are crazy. Something is happening every day. So this has been a healthy month. It's been a washout. If you're a newbie and you got into this space, unfortunately, on my tour, I'm hearing these stories of the guys that just got into these markets and they sold the other day. And these aren't small orders. Some of these Uber drivers are telling me that their friends sold $50,000 worth of Bitcoin literally at the bottom the other day. The worst possible time to sell because they're new, they're scared, they don't understand the fundamentals and why they got into it. It was a bit of a punt because everyone was making money. Again, if you've been in this space, you're starting to learn how these markets work and that obviously this is the worst possible time to sell and not to get scared and all those sort of things. But unfortunately, the reality of it is the majority of people in this space are uneducated investors. For a lot of them, it's their first investing experience. And then if you invested more than you should have, you know, you're going to be more likely to get scared and say, at least I've still got 25 grand left. You know, if you've put in that 50 amount and pull it out. Okay, guys. So where are we now? So let's zoom in a little bit further. So there's a couple of trend lines I'm sort of watching on the daily. Let's have a look at them on the 4 hour. And then let's have a look again on the hour. This probably shows it best. And at the moment, I'm keeping an eye on everything, every little move, because the next few hours even are pretty important. So there's a couple of things. So we've had a big volume flush sort of here with this spike down. And again, I was thinking that, that was a fairly good low. But we did trade this low more aggressively. So at the moment, I've got some positions on, trades that I entered here. So I got in a Misigo at about $12.50. I got into IOTA on my margin trades in the low $2, and I got into Golem in the low 60 cents. So I've got all three of those trades on. I'm happy to let them ride. They're sitting at huge profits at the moment, guys, but I think, I'm happy to ride this out at the moment, and I want to talk about why this is. So, risk to reward. What is the potential downside here? So I might just zoom back out quickly so you can see my cycle brackets that have guided us so well since the beginning. These rhythms of the markets, these ebbs and flows before we get the next push higher. These big bottoms, okay, they've worked really well. Now, it's been a little bit messy lately, a lot of thrashing, and sometimes with these cycle brackets that represent flow of money and rhythms of the market, since China has cracked down and they were the volume leader, we might have to readjust these in the future. For the time being, I want to keep them as they are. They've worked well for, I haven't had to adjust these since I started them, so I'm hesitant and a bit reluctant to change unless I have to. But this bracket here is giving us a push higher on the 22nd. Now that lines up with Monday, okay? So that would, give us the weekend to have one more little, maybe a test, a retest of the low. Let's zoom back in. If we break down out of here, this is the first little trend line I'm watching just on the hourly. A little bit of an uptrend here, nothing really. This line here isn't going to be that much support. But if we break down, I don't think that we're going a lot lower if we do. So a lot of people I'm seeing on social media saying that, yeah, 7 or 8,000 is the level that they're telling them, and that's their analysis. And a lot of people thinking I'd be very happy to buy at 7 or 8,000. Now, guys, I know for a fact that there's at least half a dozen investment funds in Australia. Now, I help talk to a lot of those as well. Not an official advisor necessarily, but I know that a lot of these guys have finally got the paperwork done, the funds are there, they've just put a lot of money into crypto, okay? So they're happy at these levels. That should tell you that, taking a longer term time frame, it's a reasonably good time to get in. Now, if it does get lower, obviously they're going to enter more money. They don't go all in at once. They like to confirm the trend and all that sort of thing. And if we got down to 7 or 8,000, obviously we know that there's heaps of people on the sidelines that want to get in that level. Now, when everyone wants to get in that level, you guys know I talk about how the herd and the majority, they're rarely correct. They rarely get what they want. Okay, so when everyone's on one side of the boat, there's only room for people to go to the other side of the boat. Now, was there an extreme enough washout in sentiment? It wasn't as bad a capitulation as last time. People are wising up to this FUD, fake news and that sort of thing. So we do need these washouts in sentiment. It was extremely euphoric a month ago. Certainly we saw some very negative posts, memes and all that sort of thing coming out social media wise. I like to keep an eye on that and gauge how the market and the overall sentiment is. So this isn't as easy a bottom to call as the previous two. That's what I'm getting at. But I do not think that there's a lot of room to the downside. So I'm thinking risk to reward. Now, my picture for Bitcoin is still miles higher than this. If we get these ETFs and everything goes well, if we get the Lightning Network and things like that, Bitcoin just goes on an absolute tear, I think, again. So risk to reward, that's how you've got to play it. Bitcoin's only one coin in my portfolio of about 20 coins. Again, these are good entries. I think Funfair, one of my favorite coins, was down to 50 cents the other day. might be 5 cents I picked some more up at. And it's already bounced back to, you know, 13 cents. What's that? You know, 160% in a couple of days, guys. These good altcoins, if you know which ones you're looking for, you know, I've done my top 10 underrated video. A lot of these are pulling back a lot. So longer term, when we get these dips, you've just got to buy. It doesn't really matter if it keeps going a bit lower. The risk to reward and potential upside, I just think is so favorable at this time. So I'm watching really closely. The next few hours is going to be important. You know, if we break down, if we can't get through this first trend line, if we break down out of here, and then if we break this fib level here around, you know, 11,000, maybe we do retest the lows. Maybe 10,000 psychological is a bit stronger support this time. I just don't see a lot of momentum to the downside. You know, that capitulation, that knife through butter. I think there's too many people that are kind of wanting to buy. They want another dip, especially with the altcoins, as I've just mentioned. If you get a chance to layer into some of these coins again, you know, the likely scenario for me is at some stage in the future these coins bounce back, as I've just described, you know, 50, 60, 100%, 1,000% in the long term for some of the coins we pick, guys. So I definitely don't think we're entering a bear market. You know, people calling this tulip mania, the bubble's finally popped, laughing it off, pyramid scheme stuff, guys. Let them do that. You know, we'll do our fundamentals, we'll make money. You know, they can stay in the stock world and get their traditional market returns. But for the time being, guys, that's what I'm looking at. So that's a bracket giving us the push up on Monday. Let's see what happens over the weekend. Do we get some sort of FUD during the light trading hours on Sundays, as previously happened? The futures markets aren't trading over that time period as well. So, you know, some of us like to maybe think that they're responsible for driving the price down. All those sort of things, guys. Let's see how it plays out. But, you know, taking that long-term point of view, I think that if we get a retest of the low, or I don't think the likely scenario is actually going to 7,000 or 8,000 like a lot of people are saying, I think that would just be an absolute gift, particularly if it drags those altcoins down. So guys, that's the way I'm viewing things at the moment. You know, I'm pretty positive on this market overall. I hope you've enjoyed that, guys. Thank you to everyone that's subscribed. Every time you hit that like button, share a comment, share these videos around. I recently got banned on Facebook. You know, it helps out the channel, guys. It puts my videos higher in the search results with their algorithms the more you guys like, share, and comment. So thanks for everyone that's helped make this happen. Let's see if we can head to 50,000 and 100,000. I'd love that to happen, guys. Keep spreading the love, spreading the crypto message. Thanks to everyone that attended the meetups. It's just been awesome lately. So thanks for tuning in, guys. Cheers.